Sony says buy an Xbox. Is Microsoft buying Tencent Games? And Xbox is about to get a bunch of handhelds. Just a reminder, if you take a look down at the description below, I have links for all sorts of Xbox gear. I've been talking a lot about the ultimate wired Xbox controller by 8BitDo. That's down there as well. You can buy it through Best Buy. If you want to get in on this new generation of Xbox cloud gaming, I also have some links for some Samsung TVs that support the Xbox Game Pass app that they're coming out with. And joining me as always is the illustrious, highly esteemed Jimmy Champagne. How's it going, Jimmy?
I woke up in like a cold sweat at 4 in the morning a couple weeks ago, and I was like, where the hell is that Left 4 Dead 2 shirt? I used to wear it all the time, and I love it. And I got up, and I found it. It was at the bottom of my laundry bin.
Nice. So let's talk about Xbox. It's been a pretty interesting weekend or week for Xbox. Specifically, Sony kind of came out and gave Xbox some props inadvertently. They were complaining about Xbox, saying that some of their most recent moves were anti-competition or anti-competitive, but in the process, kind of validating them a little bit. They were talking to this regulatory body in Brazil, and they were saying, well, we're really worried that if Xbox makes Call of Duty exclusives, people are going to have the audacity to buy an Xbox console.
Yeah, which, like, it's so weird that they have to make this argument in Brazil to, like, justify Microsoft buying Activision or whatever. It's a whole weird situation. It shows how big of a deal this is. It has, like, global implications. Yeah, the biggest franchise in the games industry is moving to one console maker. Even though they're saying they're not going to keep it exclusive, they could wait, what, like 5-6 years and just change their mind.
I mean, this deal, obviously it's big money-wise, almost $70 million. And a lot of people, I said this in the previous video, but a lot of people are downplaying it, saying, oh, Call of Duty has really fallen off. And that is true. Their player count has diminished.
It's Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty World War II, and now Vanguard. Like, those are the three that I think people have not really loved all that much. So yeah, we're getting a little tired of this rendition of Call of Duty. And then we get the, like, paradigm shift game, which is looking like it's going to be Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, and we know that they're going to take a little bit of a break with that one that Treyarch is working on, a year.
They said they're going to do premium content. Did you see that? They're going to do DLC again?
Okay. I mean,
honestly,
we'll see.
Man, I don't mind that, because I thought it was cool when all these online games started shifting to being like, oh, all the maps are free. You're just going to pay for cosmetics and blah, blah, blah. But immediately they started making way less maps when we stopped paying for them. Like, you would get one map every few months instead of like a map pack every few months. So as much as it sucks to like fragment the player base with paid map DLC, if that means we're going to get more maps, I think it's probably worth switching back to that model for Modern Warfare 2 just to see how it works.
Call of Duty makes money, and Sony, it seems that they're pretty worried about it, where previously the narrative was like, oh, you know, Microsoft is still third place, they're still way behind Sony and Nintendo, this doesn't matter, Sony is untouchable. Now we're starting to see some cracks in the, maybe things might get interesting this generation and heat up with the console wars.
I don't know how much Sony needs Call of Duty, really, because their games sell really well, and their games are mostly third-person open-world action games.
Yeah,
I think it is a big revenue generator, obviously, because it's the biggest game franchise, and when they sell a copy of Call of Duty, they get 30% of the revenue on it. But if Xbox did make it exclusive, that would make more people buy an Xbox, but I don't necessarily think less people would buy PS5.
Yeah, they were trying to make the argument that Activision, they put so many resources behind Call of Duty as a franchise. Thousands of people working on multiple Call of Duty titles at any given time, that it would be impossible for any other studio or publisher to replicate that, including themselves, which I thought that was what was implied. And it is kind of interesting. I never thought of it that way. But at the same time, I think Sony is going to be fine, like you're saying. Yeah. They're just not, they may not enjoy complete and utter dominance like they did in the PS4 generation over the Xbox One.
Yeah, in the near future, all the games that Activision's going to be put out, just for legal reasons alone, have to be on both platforms. So, like, if you're a PlayStation player and you're worried about Diablo 4, that's coming to PS4 and 5. You're not going to have to worry about that. And Diablo games come out like once a decade. So if you're a huge Diablo fan, it's not like this purchase is really going to severely impact you, at least for a while. But yeah, it's crazy. I see what Sony's saying. I feel like they had to say that, basically. Like, there's no win for them in this situation, because if they say, oh, Activision being on Xbox doesn't hurt us, everyone will be like, you're lying, because it does hurt them. But also, we know they're working on first-person shooters. They hired someone over at Guerrilla who's the guy who fixed Rainbow Six Siege. So if you don't think he's working on some sort of competitive shooter, you're crazy. Like, Sony's been buying a ton of esports companies lately. They want to get in on this esports money that has just been like eaten up by companies like Activision for a long time now.
Right. That's the whole question. That's the whole point of these companies. They do one thing, it pushes the other company to do something. That's exciting to see from a competition standpoint. You know, that's console wars, as we were just talking about it in a previous video, not like the bickering on Twitter and sending crazy messages back and forth. But how do these companies physically push each other to give a more competitive product to gamers, to consumers? I think that's a question that's on everyone's mind right now, depending on what Microsoft does with Activision Blizzard, with these IPs going forward. How can Sony respond, and instead of complaining about it to Brazil or whatever's going on, how can they offer a better product? Next up, let's talk about Game Pass, baby. Let's talk about Game Pass in the month of August.
Oh yeah, what's coming to it?
It's looking okay. I'm not thrilled. The highlight for me is 2 Point Campus. This is something that's actually been being hyped up on the Coming Soon tab on the Xbox Game Pass section of your console for a long time. It's like, coming soon, 2 Point Campus in August. I swear I was seeing that back in February. Other than that, I'm like, I don't really know. We're getting Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah,
I don't know too much about. I haven't played a Ghost Recon game.
This game is like
forever.
Underrated as hell. I remember it like came out, got 7 out of 10s and stuff, but they really doubled down on it and worked on it, and over time I think it ended up being pretty good. You can make your own character. It's got a huge open world map that's basically Bolivia. It's one of those Ubisoft games that kind of has its own identity instead of just being like copy and paste like what they are now. Breakpoint, on the other hand, is the one that sold NFTs, so it's good that we're getting the good game between Breakpoint and Wildlands on Game Pass. I would check this game out if you haven't played it. It's been on sale for like $5 or $6 a few times, so I'm sure you've tried it out. But if you haven't, there's a ton of content here, and this is like the slightly previous era of Ubisoft where their games had a sense of identity outside of like open world, box checking, procedurally generated map, all this crap that we've been seeing lately.
They usually do 2 batches of announcements, one for the first 2 weeks, and then halfway through the month, that's like, oh, here's what's coming to the service the second half of August. I'm a little underwhelmed, I'm not gonna lie. 2 Point Campus, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Cooking Simulator. I mean,
this is rough, dude. Xbox has got to this looks just like the difference between the old PS Plus and games with gold. Now it's happening with PS Plus Extra and Game Pass. It's like Xbox knows PlayStation has been killing it the past few months with the games they've been adding for free. They got to start adding some better stuff.
Yeah, I wonder. It is kind of a interesting in-between period for Game Pass, because in September you're going to get grounded. October is going to be a huge month. I talk about it all the time. Persona, the new Plague Tale game.
I will be buying Persona.
Yeah. High on Life. You're gonna buy it?
I want to play it on my Steam Deck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a 100-hour game, dude. I got to get through the grind on my portable console.
What about Midnight Fight Express?
That game looks really cool. I played the demo on Steam Next Fest, and it was really fun. So I'll try that.
Yeah, and like we always say, Game Pass giveth and taketh away. They're giving slightly less this month, if just looking off of this, but they're still giving. But we're also losing some interesting titles as well.
Yeah.
Curse of the Dead Gods. You're really high on this game. This is one of the first games I played with my Game Pass subscription when I got my console.
It's hard. It's more like if you're playing Hades after reading all the amazing reviews and it's not doing it for you, I would suggest Curse of the Dead Gods. It's kind of like the same isometric roguelite style game, but it's darker, a little bit more challenging, and they also have a lot of partnerships with other games that I really like Dead Cells.
Yeah, and they have that version available on Game Pass if you want to try it out for yourself. You don't have to upgrade, you don't have to do anything else crazy. Yeah, I would agree with your assessment, a little bit more challenging, a little bit darker. Hades is obviously dark as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you're literally fighting through the underworld, can't get much darker darker than that. You're fighting through hell, but it's kind of got like a light-hearted nature to it. I think
more
that
story driven.
Yeah, it's more. I like the characters in Hades a lot more, and
Yeah.
the peripheral NPCs, and then also we're losing a boyfriend dungeon as well. Have you played Boyfriend Dungeon?
No, but I know what it is. It's like the game where your swords are dudes that you're dating or whatever.
Yeah, they're like all of your weapons are like thirst traps. I would say like
Not for me. There was this game on Vita that they gave on PS Plus that I played once called like Hatoful Boyfriend, and it was a dating sim where everyone was pigeons. And that was funny. That was funny.
I'm into that. So yeah, some decent games coming. I don't want to discount 2 Point Campus because I really liked 2 Point Hospital, but also some good games leaving. Overall, it's a so-so month for Game Pass, a mid-month for Game Pass.
I buy all my games on Steam. I don't really like. I always feel weird passing judgment on Game Pass because like I barely use it.
You fool. Yeah, I know. I was so mad at him the other day because I was telling him to play Nobody Saves the World, and it's on Game Pass, and he has Game Pass, and he was like, "No, actually, I want to buy it on Steam," which like
I want to play
whatever.
it on Steam Deck, and I don't want to stream it. It's that simple. The Game Pass app, if Microsoft woke up and was like me trying to find this shirt and was like, we got to add the Game Pass app to Steam Deck so like everyone with the Steam Deck will subscribe to Game Pass, I would play the games on Game Pass. But there is no way to do that without switching my SD cards and switching to Windows and blah, blah, blah. So actually, when Valve updates the Steam Deck to be able to dual boot into Windows, that's when I'll start using the Game Pass.
And now, you went on that rant, you said all that stuff. You're not going to like this next story.
No,
then,
I already know.
Because we're going to be talking about the two most random companies, I feel like, teaming up together to make a handheld device. It's just a thing that lets you stream games from xCloud and Stadia, or I guess Stadia's closing down. So xCloud and GeForce Now.
God.
It's a handheld device that runs games off of that.
Who's making this?
Who's
making this?
Okay.
It gets even worse.
Okay, you're gonna don't laugh.
This is like if you took all the worst parts of gaming and then put them into like an AI and said make something.
So yeah, Tencent Games and then Logitech.
All right, Logitech's pretty good. I like Logitech.
But
Their stuff's
I don't
good.
hate Logitech, but it's random. Like when I think of
Yeah.
Logitech, I think of keyboards.
Dude, I
and mouse
guarantee you
and
Tencent was like, when they go over to Logitech and they're like, hey, want to partner up? And Logitech is like, sure, we'll make the hardware for this. You guys make the software.
Yeah.
And here we are with one of the worst things ever.
And here we are. I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to be like time traveling haters from Chappelle's show. But a lot of the things that Tencent does, I know the gaming community, they're not a big fan of, because I feel like when you think of a typical for-profit, free-to-play, loot box, battle pass kind of game, you think about Tencent. Because I'm thinking about, Supercell games. I know they have a stake in that. Roblox, Riot Games.
And they
Epic
make
Games.
good games. It's just they have the same, like, Valorant's pay model is nuts.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily that the products are bad. It's the kind of, tendencies.
The monetization strategy.
That's what it is. The monetization strategies. It's kind of an obnoxious in a way. But yeah, they're teaming up to make this handheld system that is just a cloud gaming portable thing, which is honestly has been my worst fear. Mostly because that's not what
We're getting closer and closer to Xbox just doing it themselves. I think that's the issue.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm showing my age here a little bit, but I grew up with a Game Boy, multiple Game Boys. I had a PSP. I didn't have a PS Vita, but for me, I'm just hardwired to like, a handheld device. I put the cartridge in, or I download the game, and I take it with me on the go, and I don't have to be tied to the internet. Maybe because back then there was no 5G, there was no cellular towers to play those games.
Yeah.
But what I want is a device that is a handheld Xbox, like you said, that has Game Pass on it, and you download it and you can play it locally offline. And if you want, you do have the option to play via cloud gaming, via 5G, via streaming the game. But now we're getting closer. They're actually making this thing. And I know we've already kind of seen this.
I just want to know the price, because it's such a weird concept, because the only reason that all these companies want to move towards cloud and streaming is so you never have a copy of something that you can give to your friend for free. Because if I have a like DVD of Halloween 5 and you want to watch Halloween 5, I can give it to you. And the only money being exchanged between me and the production company, who will not be named, Dimension Films, it's like the money I paid for the DVD. Then you have to go buy a subscription, or like rent it, or pay them for that. Same thing goes with these Game Pass games. You can pay Xbox $60. You saw it with Assassin's Creed, right? The digital version of Assassin's Creed Origins, $60. Even though you can walk down to GameStop and get it for $8. They can keep the prices high longer if these games are only
digital,
available digitally. And why would you buy it digitally if you could just subscribe to Game Pass for $1 a month?
That version, the modern version of it, is mooching off of someone else's account.
Yeah, right.
You know, they have your password, and they use your account, or you know, once this family plan rolls out, they're all bundled into your account, and they just have a separate profile for their stuff. I feel like that's the version of that's like the modern version of that. But you're right. I mean, it is kind of ridiculous that these companies get to set their own prices when it's digital only.
Yeah.
And especially it sucks, especially if you have a Series S or an all digital console like the digital PS5, discless PS5. And now we're getting this device which is just a big cell phone.
Yeah, and if it's the same price as the Steam Deck, why would you buy that over the Steam Deck? Just so you can stream your Game Pass games to it? I would pay the $400 for the Steam Deck and just buy the games individually, because then you have them on your device, which is great. All of this talk though of cloud streaming, it makes me want to go buy like an analog pocket and just play my Game Boy Advance games. Like, I'm just so sick of
so cool.
Everything being online and monetized and like microtransactions. You see this with movies a lot right now. We're getting to that point with games, but like HBO Max, whatever's going on with that, it could be totally changed by the time you see this video. They just removed 6 movies from HBO Max that they never released physically. Those are gone. So they could, if we go all digital with games, they could just like take down Ghost of Tsushima, and that could just be gone forever if it was a digital only game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting. The Switch exists, the Steam Deck exists, and companies looked at it and they were like, let's make something like that, but take out the feature that people like the most, being able to play games offline, I mean. And it is a little weird. And you do have a good point with the freaking always being bombarded with monetization and upgrade paths and things like that.
I know Xbox is working on something, right? We know this through Jez Corden and all these other people. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I hope whatever device this is has the ability to run specific games on the device, like TMNT Shredder's Revenge. That's a game you could probably run on whatever device this is.
Yeah.
Something like Halo Infinite, I don't know, that's something you could say that's a cloud game. Like, they obviously have the ability to differentiate, because when Starfield comes out, you're going to be able to buy it on your Xbox One and stream it there. So just make that handheld and we're good.